and thank you all for joining us for another episode of Just Off College Avenue. Today we are going to be talking with Karina Rufino. She is the Assistant Director of Multicultural Affairs here at UVA-Wise, but also a doctoral student at VCU. Recently, she has been doing work and research around food insecurity, and so I'm going to toss it over to her so she can tell us a little bit about the research that she's been doing and some findings.
So past research shows that food insecurity is not an individual problem, it's actually a systemic one, so disproportionately impacting marginalized student populations. When I talk about marginalized students, I refer to students of color, first-generation students, international students, and those who receive need-based financial aid, such as Pell Grants. They are at a much higher rate than any other student. So the primary cause is financial instability. Students frequently report that they prioritize paying rent, living costs, or tuition over purchasing adequate food. Also, students that use SNAP, which is a supplementary nutrition assistant program, is often with limited complex eligibility requirements for full-time students. Often these eligibility requirements knock out full-time students, which causes them to even feel even more stressed about not having that assistance that they need. This causes a toll on their mental health and wellness. Food insecurity is a significant predictor of poor physical and mental health outcomes that directly compresses academic achievement. Academically, struggling students are experiencing higher rates of depression, anxiety, even higher levels of stress. So the lack of access to nutritious foods leads to lower overall dietary quality, also nutritious deficiencies such as iron, and then unhealthy coping mechanisms where students often purchase cheaper foods or skipping meals. While most campuses offer food pantries, studies have shown that the utilization is much lower. Only at 38% of food insecure students actually use them. This underutilization is driven by overwhelming barriers and social stigma and embarrassment. This leads to the lack of items that meet specific needs, such as culturally relevant or allergy-friendly foods, which is often expensive for pantries to stock.
That's a lot of really great information, and I will say that personally I do relate to a lot of the things that you were saying based on what my undergraduate experience was like, such as skipping meals or just finding different ways to cut corners in that way. And I'm sure there are a lot of other listeners that have that. Culturally, I feel like that is a huge issue that they're going to face, because I know we have a pantry here at UVA-Wise called Smitty's Cupboard to assist students who are facing food insecurity, and it does provide some hygiene items, which is really nice for our students. But since you work more closely with the cupboard, what have you seen while working with students, or have they voiced needs for alternatives?
Students have actually come and voiced about it, was having more fresh produce at the cupboard. And so we have had this amazing lady that donates boxes of fresh produce based on the season, of course. We have anything from milk, squash, sometimes like salad boxes, stuff like that. And so come check the cupboard, the pantry out, and look at our fridge. We have a full-size fridge that has all the fresh produce in there, but also we have milk. Another need that we actually were made aware of was a higher need for allergy-friendly food items, such as gluten-free, and then also other healthy alternatives for students that are vegan or vegetarian. And so now with Kosh and our office, we're trying to implement more food items into the cupboard of those. So if you are students that are dealing with allergy-friendly needs, or maybe you're vegan or vegetarian and you don't see something that's in the cupboard but you wish to see, reach out to us and we can start implementing those items in the cupboard. We try to work with all types of students, and if you have something that doesn't work with your dietary restriction, it's just a simple conversation. Let us know and we can do our best to try to have those items in the cupboard. Some actionable recommendations that staff and leadership can actually implement into their campus is combating the food insecurity. We have to shift as an institution into viewing food pantries as the sole emergency solution, and instead adapt a comprehensive equity-driven strategy that addresses the underlying structural barriers. So some recommendations from past
You're
So
good.
some recommendations based on the literature included that to improve access and reduce stigma, so have to actively work to reduce the social stigma and embarrassment associated with resources through targeted outreach campaigns and clear, accessible communication and eligibility. Secondly, we have to enhance resource offerings. So going beyond shelf-stable goods, pantries and dining services must actively survey and stock a consistent supply of culturally relevant and allergy-friendly foods to meet the diverse needs of their student population. So considering implementing services like campus gardens or free meal programs. And then lastly is to integrate financial and nutritional education. So offering like workshops that focus on essential living skills such as practical budgeting, shopping for affordable, healthy meals, or even meal preparation. So some greater nutrition knowledge has been shown to improve student efficiency, both financial and nutritional decisions. And additionally, if we get students to be involved in the solution, we can get their perspectives on what we really need from them, what they want, what they're seeking. And this can really help us target those groups of students that have the higher need. So having a co-design approach with students in developing initiatives, this will help us create a student engagement approach and having their awareness, also their leadership, and their overall participation in finding effective solutions.
Absolutely. And you had mentioned getting the students engaged there at the end. And I feel like if you're getting students engaged with the types of ways that they can interact with our food pantry or just food in general on campus, it's definitely going to help with the stigma and embarrassment and helping lift up their other colleagues. I know that you've been doing this research and found that cooking can be helpful, such as like cooking classes and things as far as resources. And I know that we meaning the college, I've seen that there's been some cooking type things going on in clubs. Could you talk a little bit maybe more about those types of events, maybe some types of classes or things like that students could be on the lookout for, whether it's, on their campus or in their communities, to kind of help alleviate that stigma and help with getting us to a better place with the food insecurity?
Yes. So this year we're actually taking a different approach. So our office is now partnering with COSH, which is the Committee Against Hunger and Homelessness. COSH was created in 2018 by faculty and staff, but it kind of died down after COVID, like many other things. It was harder. A lot of the people that were on the committee either retired or they just could not commit to being on the committee again. And so it kind of went away for a while. And then this year, where I really have been trying to get more into researching about food insecurity, my one priority was to work with my supervisor starting up COSH again. So I reached out to my supervisor and I was like, hey, I'm doing this research. I'm really focusing on food insecurity. I think it would be very beneficial for us to start COSH again. And so with the help of her, we reached out to past members that were on the committee already, and we started the committee again. So for the first time since pre-COVID, COSH is active again this fall semester. And so now it's made up of 8 faculty and staff members, but now we also have 2 student representatives on the committee. Again, reaching out into past research and how they said they want student voices to be on that committee or on many other things. And so we thought it was most effective to have their perspective. And so it's great to have those 2 students join us. And so far, getting their ideas and hearing what their peers need has been very helpful for us. And so with that, the committee has already implemented a lot of great events this semester. We started doing teaching kitchens, which is another thing that past research said was very important to have, that educational aspect of teaching students how to cook meals or how to budget. A lot of times research has suggested that students do not know how to make an affordable meal or how to even cook. And so having these life skills for them is very important. So the teaching kitchens are simple things that they can actually grab items that's available at Smitty's Covered, our food pantry on campus, and that they can utilize those materials to make a meal out of it. So our first one that we did in August was actually using supplies from Smitty's Covered, and students learned how to make a delicious meal that was healthy but also at an affordable price. We did the breakdown of like where they could purchase the supplies if they didn't want to use the Covered. They could either shop at Food City, which is our local grocery store, or Walmart, but also the Dollar Tree and other places that sell, food items. We gave them a kind of variety of list of ingredients that with the pricing, and this was kind of very helpful for them. We did get a lot of great feedback about the events that we have had so far. Students have really enjoyed it and have really praised us about having these classes available for them, and have actually giving us suggestions on what they want to see for spring semester. So far it has been really great. In addition to that, we have also created a whole week during our hunger and homelessness awareness week, and we implemented our first mini farmers market on campus, where we actually collaborated with Appalachia Sustainability Development, which is an organization that works with local farms on helping them sell their produce to other areas. And so we actually bought 30 boxes from them of fresh produce and milk, and we provided this event to this campus community, and it was all free for students. So we were able to provide this free items for them, and all the majority of the supplies were gone by the end of the event, and the remaining supplies we actually just put in the Covered. Our vision for the future, now that Kosh is over, helping out with the Covered, is including more nutritious items in the Covered, but also affordability. Now working with Kosh, we are trying to implement more healthy options in the Covered, but also additionally seeing what other supplies we can add with the student perspective in mind. We created a survey that actually went out a couple months ago, getting the student perspective of how they thought about the Covered, what changes they wanted to see happen, and then what type of food items that they want. We don't only have food items available, we also have toiletry supplies, school supplies, and then any donation that students or community members give. Sometimes they do clothing, sometimes they do like little small things. So we put all donations in the Covered. And then if students at the end of the semester, if you want to donate items, we are open hands. We take donations all the time. We just say, look at the expiration date, make sure they're not open, make sure that if you're giving this to someone else, that they're able to use it. Drop them off at our office, and we will take care of the rest.
Well, that's wonderful. It sounds like you're making a lot of impact already. Of course, because of the research, but I think you just have a good heart in wanting to do those things anyways. And restarting Kosh sounds like it's having a huge impact so far. And I'm glad students are actually being engaged and giving you feedback. I feel like sometimes that's hard on campuses to get people re-engaged after COVID. So that's wonderful. Well, I'm going to move into this next question, which is about socioeconomic factors, and we know that they play a huge role in how students struggle or experience food insecurity, especially in college, but it is a complicated issue to tackle as a whole. Do you have any suggestions on what universities can do to meet the rising need from students that may already be in a place of need, that could be similar to things we've already spoken about, or maybe further initiatives that they need to take on?
Yeah, so it's important for our, just as an institution as a whole, to really work together. We have so many offices within every institution. You know, you hear student affairs, you hear housing office, you hear enrollment. You know, there's so many offices within one institution, and them working together to create these actionable steps is really, really important. So just creating that communication, that friendship with other offices, that, you know, you're working with senior leaders, especially getting them involved. Past research has shown, like, if you get senior leadership levels to help you out and make these changes, they have the power to do so. So working with them and having them look at the research and see what you have done, and some steps or strategies that you can offer to them is like creating more financial opportunities, working with creating like reduced meal plans, or even like a donating swipes is another program that one study highlighted as like that they started at their campus, where students would donate swipes and other students could, you know, use them if they didn't purchase a meal plan. And so oftentimes, you know, every institution is going to be different, but at least here for us, if you live on campus, you have to purchase a meal plan. And so oftentimes those students who don't purchase meal plans are commuters. So maybe like helping out our commuters, you know, having initiatives that can be on like, hey, like if you're food insecure, you don't have a meal plan, this is a reduced plan that you can purchase and it's affordable. Or here at the end of the semester, we have these extra swipes. Come grab a swipe from us. So creating things like that would be really important for any institution to create. So I think my number one advice, especially, you know, being supported by past research, is to get to know your campus community, your demographics, and seeing what is needed at your institution. And the point is that we are starting these initiatives to help students that, you know, combat food insecurity, and essentially working together is the main one that we all have to do, because it takes a village, you know, to create these things, and making sure that they're working and they're helping students. And so it's really important for that conversation to start. So I'll just leave it at that. As a first step is just to you know, communicate with your supervisor, communicate with your senior leaders, communicate with any high authority, and seeing what you can do so that you can move on forward. And also get the perspective of students, listen to what they need. I guarantee you do a survey or you even have one conversation with students, they will let you know what they need. And that is very important for us as leaders, to listen to their needs, whether that is, you know, just to create a more affordable meal plan or to have a salad bar in the dining hall. You know, it can be something little simple, but we don't know if we don't listen.
Oh, 100%. And I like that you were talking about like communicate, tell people, because sometimes it's just that little buzz that starts, and then the real conversation begins, because now it's being picked up by multiple people. So yeah, just get the conversation going for sure. Well, wonderful. Well, if there are students who are listening and maybe they want to connect with you because of wanting to get involved with KOSHA in some way, whether it's, you know, just volunteering, like, hey, an event's happening and you need extra hands, or how they can get more students involved, should they come to you? How should they engage to help with food insecurity on campus?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I'm so glad you brought this up, because we actually have, you know, great clubs and orgs on campus already that are doing a lot of the work, that are being led by our student leaders. So one great club is the community garden that was started up by students here on campus that create a garden. And a lot of the items that there are, you know, growing, they come and donate it to the pantry. So if you want to help out, you want to be hands-on and, you know, learn how to start a garden or help out that community, reach out to one of them. If you need the information, come to me. I will, you know, point you to the right direction. But I think if you want to be more hands-on as a student, that is one club that you can join. As well as Kosh. Kosh is fully ongoing right now. We started this semester, and we will continue to, start up doing different events in the spring. If you want to reach out to Kosh, get your student perspective, or just even want to volunteer, because we will have some volunteering opportunities coming up, just email Kosh, COSHH, @uvays.edu. Send us an email, state who you are, what do you need, and one of our representatives from the committee will reach out to you. As well, don't any point in time hesitate if you want to talk to me. My office is located on the first floor of Cantrell Hall. My office is always open. I'm part of Kosh, but I'm also in my role. I'm always open to hearing new perspective and new ideas. And if I don't know the answer, I will point you to the right person. So come talk to me. You can send me an email, stop by my office, and I will gladly sit down and enjoy a good conversation with you.
Yay! Well, Karina, you have listened to a couple of episodes, so you always know that I end with asking what is something that you've been curious about lately, whether it's books, podcasts, anything. I know you've been doing a lot of research here, so of course if there's more into this you want to talk about or something completely different, I'd love to hear what's been keeping you curious, and we can share that with students too.
Thank you for asking. Yeah, it's actually more pleasure reading and about food insecurity. So now that I have a little bit more time to, read anything that I want, I will actually be reading another book on food insecurity. So this one is Food Insecurity on Campus by Katharine Broton and Clare Cady. So I'll be reading that during winter break, actually, just to, be more mindful about what strategies we can implement, kind of helping out Kosh a little more on what strategies for us we can take to start here at UVA-wise. So I will be reading that, and then I will actually be doing a little bit of junk journaling. That is my hobby that I love to do when I'm not doing anything academic or working in the office. Is just like a little, mental break for myself. So if I'm not reading, I will most likely be crafting.
I love that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you've got to get into the craft.
Yeah. Take a little break. Yeah.
Yeah, you need it mentally.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing all of your information with us. I'm going to link all kinds of things in the description with how you can get in touch with Karina, the type of work that she's been doing. Of course, the book will be down there. If you need any of us, you all know how to get in touch. And if you don't, it'll be in the description, so no worries. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you on the next episode of Just Off College Avenue. Bye.
Bye.